These are the mysterious ruins of Puma Punku, nearly 13,000 feet in the Altiplano of Bolivia.
Evidence that something extraordinary happened at Puma Punku is in front of our very eyes.
For years, Puma Punku has remained one of the most mysterious places on Earth. Scattered across the high plains of Bolivia are massive stone blocks, some weighing over 100 tons, carved with such incredible precision that even modern engineers are left speechless. These stones lock together like perfect puzzle pieces, sharp-edged, seamless, almost machine-like, yet they were shaped thousands of years ago, long before steel tools, cranes, or any advanced technology were supposed to exist. Archaeologists have debated endlessly, was Puma Punku part of a grand temple, a ceremonial gateway, or the remains of something far more advanced that history has tried to erase? The deeper the studies went, the more bizarre the mystery became. And now, in 2025, artificial intelligence has entered the picture, reconstructing Puma Punku in ways never seen before. What the AI revealed stunned even the experts. Because the results weren't just strange, they were unsettling. The reconstruction didn't simply solve questions. It created new ones, hinting at a past far more complex and far more disturbing than anyone imagined. And the most unsettling part, it may rewrite the story of human history forever. For decades, Göbekli Tepe has also stood as one of humanity's greatest enigmas. Buried beneath the soil of southeastern Turkey, its towering stone pillars, covered in carvings of animals, symbols, and shapes beyond explanation, have challenged everything we thought we knew about the birth of civilization. Older than Stonehenge, older than the pyramids. So ancient, it seems impossible that Stone Age hunter-gatherers, with no farming and no metal tools, could have created something so advanced. Experts have wrestled with it for years. Was it a temple? A sacred gathering place? A site where nomadic tribes came to worship before returning to the wilderness? Every excavation only deepened the mystery. Each discovery raised more questions than it answered. Then in 2025, the narrative changed. New scans, deeper digs, and breakthrough evidence didn't just add a missing piece, they destroyed the old picture entirely. Suddenly, Göbekli Tepe wasn't just an ancient site. It became evidence of something far older, far more complex, and far more powerful than we had ever dared to imagine. And the truth? It isn't what you think. But before diving into the shocking discoveries of 2025, we need to rewind to the beginning. Because Göbekli Tepe's story isn't just ancient, it's profoundly strange. The further you dig, the stranger it gets. And with every new clue uncovered, even greater questions rise to the surface. The legend of Göbekli Tepe. In the dusty hills of southeastern Turkey, near the Syrian border, lies a site so mysterious and ancient that it's rewriting everything we thought we knew about the dawn of civilization. This isn't the kind of place you'd casually flip past in a school textbook. It's not a touristy landmark filled with cameras and souvenir shops. Archaeologists call it one of the most important discoveries in human history, and they're not exaggerating. Göbekli Tepe, Potbelly Hill in Turkish, is believed to be the oldest monumental structure ever found. Picture this, a place built more than 11,000 years ago, somewhere between 10,000 and 13,000 years before the Common Era. That's long before the pyramids, long before Stonehenge, even before people were supposed to know farming. And here's the kicker. Only about 10% of it has been uncovered. The rest, a massive 90%, is still buried underground. If what's been revealed so far is this extraordinary, imagine what's still waiting below. The first big discovery came in the 1990s, when German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt studied what many assumed was just a natural hill. What he uncovered shook history itself. Beneath the mound were enormous T-shaped stone pillars, some almost 20 feet tall and weighing up to 10 tons. These weren't random stones, they were arranged in huge circles. And they weren't plain either. They were covered with carvings of animals, symbols, and strange human-like shapes. Snakes twist along their surfaces. Foxes, vultures, and scorpions appear over and over. Some believe these carvings may be the world's earliest attempts at myth or religion. Yet there's no writing, no wheel, no metal tools, no domesticated animals. These were people we thought of as primitive, supposedly too simple to pull off something this grand. So how did they do it? And more importantly, why? The most common idea is that Göbekli Tepe was a sacred site, maybe the world's first temple. Nomadic groups might have gathered there for rituals, seasonal festivals, or ceremonies. But even if that's true, why go to such extremes, moving 10-ton stones just for ceremonies? And how did people with no farming, no towns, and no leaders organize something this massive? Klaus Schmidt had a radical answer. He suggested sites like Göbekli Tepe weren't built after farming began. Instead, they may have been the very reason farming started. Think about it. Large groups gathered here for rituals, so they needed food, shelter, and supplies. That pressure may have forced them to plant seeds, store food, and eventually settle down. In other words, religion and ritual might have sparked farming, not the other way around. And then came a twist. Around 8000 BCE, someone deliberately buried the site. They didn't just walk away and let nature reclaim it. They carefully covered it with dirt and rubble. To this day, no one knows why. Was it a ritual closure, a cultural ending, or did something happen that made them want it hidden forever? Whatever the reason, Göbekli Tepe forces us to rethink early humans. They weren't just simple wanderers surviving in caves. They were builders, organizers, and visionaries thousands of years before writing, wheels, or metal. Yet, despite its importance, Göbekli Tepe is still a mystery. The more we uncover, the more it challenges our ideas about where we came from. We've walked through its stones and dust, but the biggest questions remain. What does it all mean? That's where the maze begins. Scholars see it as a religious hub, a gathering spot for rituals or seasonal events. But here's the strange part. There's no trace of permanent living, no homes, no hearths, no garbage heaps. It seems people traveled long distances, held their ceremonies, then left. That alone breaks the usual rule. Monuments normally come after farming. Yet Göbekli Tepe flips the timeline, hinting that shared beliefs united people before agriculture. That's the scientific view. But there are wilder ones too. Some claim Göbekli Tepe couldn't have been built by humans alone, that the precision and scale were impossible without outside help. Some whisper of ancient aliens. Others say it was made by a forgotten advanced civilization, erased by catastrophe. The evidence is thin, but these theories fire people's imaginations. You'll find them in late-night podcasts, YouTube videos, books, and TV specials under Ancient Mysteries. And why do these theories stick? Because so much about Göbekli Tepe is still unknown. With only a fraction uncovered, most of its secrets remain underground. The biggest riddle may be why it was buried on purpose. That almost never happens in ancient history. Normally, sites are abandoned and left to time. But here, it was intentional, as if someone wanted to hide it, and no one can say why. Where science stops, myths step in. Some say it's a star map, others a cosmic portal, or even a hidden message from a lost civilization. Online theories talk of ancient technology, energy grids, and connections to Atlantis. The media feeds on this. The stranger the theory, the more attention Göbekli Tepe gets. In some ways, that's good. It brings global interest and funding, but it also blurs the line between serious research and wild speculation. Here's the intriguing part. What if both sides are partly missing the truth? What if mainstream explanations don't tell the full story, but myths aren't completely wrong either? Maybe the exaggerations are pointing toward a mystery we still haven't cracked. That's the tension of Göbekli Tepe. On one side, science and evidence. On the other, speculation and myth. And in between sits a silent site that continues to challenge everything we thought we knew about the origins of civilization. But then, just as debates kept going in circles, everything shifted. In 2025, fresh discoveries came to light, and they didn't just add details to the mystery of Göbekli Tepe. They began to rewrite the entire story of what it was and what it wasn't. The 2025 breakthrough, new discoveries. Early in 2025, something happened that no one saw coming. For decades, archaeologists had puzzled over Göbekli Tepe's stone rings and towering T-shaped pillars, convinced it was a ritual center. The idea was simple. Nomadic hunter-gatherers built it, used it for ceremonies, then left. It was never thought of as a place where people actually lived. But then the soil gave up new secrets, and the picture flipped. On the edges of the site, as crews dug deeper, they uncovered something startling: the remains of actual living quarters. Not just faint traces, but real evidence of habitation. Hearths where fires once burned, storage pits, foundation outlines, even smoothed working spaces that looked like areas for specific tasks. This was the discovery no one expected. Until then, there had been no proof that people stayed at Göbekli Tepe. The lack of farming or permanent houses seemed to confirm it was only a spiritual gathering point. But what emerged in 2025 told a different story, one of permanence, and it didn't stop there. Alongside the living spaces, archaeologists uncovered tools, stone blades, scrapers, grinding stones, and the remains of food, wheat grasses, legumes, gazelle bones, bird feathers. These weren't just meals eaten on the go. They showed signs of processing, preparation, and long-term use. Grinding stones in particular pointed to flour production, clear proof of longer stays. This wasn't a camp, this was home. That idea alone shakes the foundations of history. If Göbekli Tepe truly supported a permanent or semi-permanent community, it forces us to rethink when humans stopped wandering and began to settle. It pushes the dawn of structured life back thousands of years earlier than we thought. But 2025 had more in store. Using ground-penetrating radar, the team scanned deeper, and what they saw was staggering. Beneath the surface lay at least 15 more hidden enclosures untouched until now. Some may be even older than the ones already uncovered, possibly stretching back as far as 15,000 years. That would push them into a time when much of humanity still lived in caves or hunted across open plains. The scale is overwhelming. Radar revealed more than 200 new standing stones, massive and deliberately arranged in circles and ovals. These weren't random formations. They were monuments, carefully shaped and positioned, mirroring the design of the known enclosures. In total, researchers confirmed at least 15 new megalithic temples scattered across the site. And here's the astonishing part. Less than 10% of Göbekli Tepe has been excavated. The rest remains sealed underground, preserved by time. At the current pace, experts say it could take over a century, maybe even 150 years, to fully uncover it, which means every scan, every layer of earth removed, could reveal discoveries capable of rewriting history yet again. The 2025 breakthrough didn't just add facts, it flipped the entire story. For decades, Göbekli Tepe was labeled a temple complex, a ceremonial site, a place built by nomads who never stayed. But those categories are crumbling. Now we have evidence of homes, tools, food, and an unimaginable number of hidden structures. Together, they reveal a people far more advanced than we thought possible. We may not just be looking at the world's oldest monumental site. We may be staring at one of humanity's first true communities, a place where people lived, worked, and worshipped thousands of years before civilization was supposed to exist. And if that's true, then what else about our past have we been getting wrong? These discoveries didn't simply fill gaps in history. They tore open an entirely new chapter, one no one ever expected. Rewriting history, what the evidence means. So let's pause and really think about this. For decades, the story was clear. Göbekli Tepe was a spiritual hub, an ancient pilgrimage site. Hunter-gatherers gathered, performed rituals, then moved on. That was the accepted narrative. It made sense at first. There were no obvious houses, no streets, no kitchens, just stone circles and mysterious carvings. But the discoveries of 2025 flipped that script. Evidence now shows people actually lived here, at least some of the time. And that forces us to ask, have we been telling the story of civilization backwards all along? For centuries, we believed farming came first. People settled to grow food, and only then did they build temples, societies, and complex structures. But Göbekli Tepe suggests the opposite. Here, ritual and community may have come first, and farming followed. The stone circles weren't random. They were carefully designed, symmetrical, and in some cases, aligned with the stars. Built by hunter-gatherers, they reveal teamwork, leadership, and shared belief, things we usually credit to farming societies. And now, with tools, food preparation, and signs of early domestication, Göbekli Tepe looks less like a stopover and more like one of the first true communities. That flips everything. Maybe humans didn't farm in order to live together. Maybe they lived together first and farming grew out of that. These weren't wandering bands. They were builders, organizers, and visionaries. Which raises big questions. Who led them? Who planned their work? How did they feed the builders? Did they trade, share, or pass down stories that kept them united? And it's not just Göbekli Tepe. Look at Stonehenge, Malta's Gantia temples, Menorca's Taulas, the Moai of Easter Island. Across time and continents, humans kept shaping massive stones into sacred places, as if echoing a memory, a tradition carried from somewhere deeper in our past. Maybe Göbekli Tepe wasn't the beginning, but a signpost, a clue left from an even older story. The more we uncover, the clearer the message. Civilization didn't begin the way we thought. It wasn't just practical, it was creative, spiritual, and surprising. And maybe we're not the first advanced society, just the first to survive. So what do you think? Is Göbekli Tepe the true birthplace of civilization, or just a glimpse of something even older? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.